Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. You know, necessity is the mother of inventions, or innovation, or change. If you need something, you're going to have to struggle to find a solution in order to solve the problem. That's the same thing here with the Russians. Russians are fighting now. They didn't expect it, probably, as the first scenario to fight the whole NATO and United States and so on. Probably they expected as a first scenario, we're going to fight Ukraine and Ukraine will next one, hey, maybe these guys are going to do something, third one, and so on. Well, they got to the almost the worst case scenario, even though I think a direct fight between NATO and Russia would have been an easier scenario for the Russians than it is right now. Why? Because they would have used nuclear weapons, the other guys used nuclear weapons and solved the problem. Or at least the other guys would have used, Russians would have used nuclear weapons, the other guys would say, hold on, this is real, stop, let's talk, and it would have been everything faster. Right now, I think this is the worst case scenario, where you have millions of people displaced, probably millions going to be dying, and territory destroyed, countries and cultures and societies blown up. Unfortunately, for some other people, I dislike that a lot, because the ones, or some of the ones that are involved in this, are not affected negatively by the negative consequences of their decisions. That's one thing that I hate seeing Ukrainians dying. I hate seeing anybody dying. But in this case, I hate seeing Ukrainians and Russians dying for other people's interest. No. And those guys are just counting their money and waiting. Anyway, so what happened here? I don't know if you're familiar with Joe Biden saying in an interview with, what was that? It doesn't matter, CNN, I want to see CNN, MSNBC, I don't know, Zachariah, BSer. He interviewed, I think ABC, doesn't really matter, one of the, anyway, YouTube. One of those outlets. And this Zachariah interviewed Biden, and Biden said that we are depleted we don't have any more ammunition, 155, that's why we have to send cluster munitions to Ukraine. Jesus Christ, isn't that a military secret that you're divulging? Or you're just Nevertheless, a lot of European countries that provided Ukraine with ammunition complained, including the United States of America now, that they are running low on their own stocks of ammunition. Well, the Russians are increasing according to the Russians, they're increasing their hypersonic missile production. They started the production of mass production of the hypersonic Kinzhal missiles. As I said, change and necessity is the mother of invention, or innovation, or pushing forward on the pedal. Vroom, vroom. Remember the Second World War, when it was the Barbarossa, a little operation by the Germans in Soviet Union? What did the Soviets do? They pushed all their industry, I think the Ural Mountains or Ural Mines, where wasn't it? Around that area, so these guys cannot get to it. And they were producing tanks, they're producing all kind of BS in such a number that eventually, with the resources, destroyed the Germans. So let's go and see what the Russians are saying in this article coming from Russia Today, from July 10th, 2023. Russia now, and I'm quoting, mass producing hypersonic missiles, Rostec. Kinzhal missiles have been fully developed and available to the military in required quantities, CEO Vladimir Artyakov has reported. The Russian air-launched Kinzhal hypersonic missile has gone into mass production and is now manufactured in quantities sufficient to meet the needs of the military, an executive for the Rostec defense conglomerate has reported. The weapon is widely perceived as impossible to intercept, though Kiev claims it has shot down many of the projectiles. You see, you don't see this kind of reporting in the West nowadays. I mean, I'm generalizing, obviously. But you see how these guys, they say it on their own media outlet. The weapon is widely perceived as impossible to intercept, and then they mention this thing. Though Kiev claims it has shot down many of the projectiles. Here, in the Free West, this little last part of the statement or sentence would have been left out. Most likely. Previously, and I'm quoting, previously our production was to a degree influenced by a need to fully complete the research and development, but now we have moved to serial production in earnest, end quote. Vladimir Artyakov, the deputy CEO of the state-owned company, told Russian television on Monday. And I'm quoting again. So, whatever the defense ministry asks of us, we do that with quality and deliver the quantities it requires, end quote. Modern air defense systems cannot intercept Kinzhal missiles, contrary to Ukrainian claims, Artyakov assured. Kiev's statements are, and I'm quoting, part of the propaganda effort by our enemy, he stated. Well, the same thing they can claim about you as well, and they also can claim, yeah, you started mass producing my ass. You don't have the resources, and by the way, we know that you can't do anything right, according to Westerners, okay? But that's what happens when you have ideologies interfering with realities. You say, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to implement the first set of sanctions on the Russians, the ruble will collapse, their economy will be destroyed, mass unemployment, they will rise up, Putin is going to be gone in yesterday. Crickets. Nothing happened. Why? Because their ideology blinded them from seeing the reality. So the same here. We'll find out who really is an ideologue and is just, wishful thinking versus reality. Because these guys are not assessing the situation as it is. You know what? Let's look at it. How many Kinzhals Russians produce? Let's find out. All right. 55 a month. Okay. Hey, they produce 55. Now it's for you, based on that information, to change something, to improve something, to counter that. Instead of just saying, the Russians have no more Kinzhals. Or if they send a Kinzhal, we destroy them all. Oh, no, they can't produce produce Kinzhals. No, there's no way. But they produce 54 a month. So that's how it works. But you don't want to scare the weasels, but by not telling the truth, you cannot adapt. In not adapting, you're going to be open-legged to be in... All right, excuse me for my... All right, let's move on here. The Kinzhal is an aeroballistic projectile launched from a dedicated platform, a variant of the MiG-31 interceptor right here. It may have been derived from ballistic missiles meant for the Iskander ground launcher, some military experts believe. Officials in Kiev claim to have intercepted about a dozen Kinzhals. They said the US-made Patriot system, being a superior piece of military equipment, is capable of stopping the fast-moving weapon. The thing is this. You can't claim that you are the best in the world boxer if you never fought. You can't. And how do you know you're the best? Since you never tested yourself, because you don't even know how the other person fights. Let's say you never saw the world champion fighting, and you're just boxing. I'm the best, I'm the world champion. Okay, but you don't know who's the best. Why? Because you can replicate, the attack of a Kinzhal. So Patriot systems are made as they're made, but they were never tested because they couldn't be tested against that. It's like I want to create this piece of cloth, right? That is going to be, the water would not go through. Waterproof. But how do you do it if you don't have water to test it if it's going to go? You can do whatever you think you can do. But if you don't test it against water, you do not know if you do that, if that's good. But they say, well, we did it in Kiev. First attempt on a Kinzhal, success. Unfortunately, in technology, you work with data and fixed and exact numbers. That is, you can say, well, it might be able because we say so, and the moon is half moon today, and that, it doesn't work that way. If your radar is able to intercept a certain kind of rocket or missile coming at a certain kind of speed. You know that. It's not like philosophy or, let's see, maybe, no, it's clear. If you cannot detect something coming toward you, you cannot see it, and you cannot react in time, and you don't have the reaction able to hit the whatever it's incoming, you can't. You can't. Technologically, it's not like, yeah, we would, I identify as a patriot and boom, I'm going to block all the Kinzhal. It doesn't work that way. But these guys know that the audience might bite that. Yes, we did it. Okay, the radars cannot intercept it, and the rockets and missiles to blow it are slower. How in the hell you intercept it? Lucky? Lucky strike? Yeah, could be lucky. But they said intercepted more than one. So that means they're consistent. That means they're good. Actually, no Kinzhal hit Kiev since Patriot were put over there. Do you believe that? I don't believe that. 0% I believe that. Can I? I mean, why? Because I don't believe someone just telling me that. I don't believe, including being at war with the other ones and having the military, industrial complex behind advertising their product in a war in Ukraine so other people can get them rich by buying the shit that these guys advertise. No, I'm not going to do that. That's a vested interest in promoting Patriot or Kinzhal, for that matter. I mean, don't get me wrong. The Russians are doing the same thing as these guys are doing. Promote their weapons because it's about money. Let's go further here. So officials in Kiev claim to have intercepted about a dozen Kinzhals. They said the US-made Patriot system, being a superior piece of military equipment, is capable of stopping the fast-moving weapon. I don't think they are 100% efficient. That's my first. I don't think they are efficient anyway, but let's say, don't think 100. About a dozen. Okay. Ukrainian Defense Minister Alexei Reznikov, or Alexei, claimed in an interview with the Financial Times last week that American military officials called the purported achievement fantastic. However, a visiting senior Chinese official was doubtful and left Kiev before they could present any proof, the military added. Well, the Ukrainians said that the Chinese left without going to see it, and the proof is proof. We'll find out. Time will tell. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I doubt just by using logic. I don't have any evidence, but this guy's a statement. But the Russians said, no, they didn't. The Ukraine says, yes, we did. I don't believe either. So Kiev has shown debris to the public from what is asserts to be a downed Kinzhal. The Russian military stated that the claimed number of Ukrainian intercepts was higher than the number of hypersonic weapons actually fired during the hostilities. Well, I understand the Russians as well. Why would they say that? If in case the Ukrainians indeed destroyed how many they said they did. It's a war of information and counter-information, and we have to just make sure that we don't step on this garbage. I remember my analogy with that narrow street in the middle. It's dark outside, but it's a lot of shit on the ground, and you have to cross it. It's about, let's say, 15 yards, and they are on the ground over there, and you have to just go and don't sleep on them. And at the end, when you get over there, just with your feet because you stepped on some. That's what I feel when I read these articles from all sides. I have to make sure that I don't just buy one shed because the shed is over there. I stepped on it. I have to, is it possible? Okay, let's use, is it who's saying that? How did they get the information? And skepticism all the time. And you have to try to verify the information. And here, you can trust anybody from the very beginning. Why? Because the stakes are so high. These guys versus those guys with these guys in the back. And maybe you listen to the Zimbabweans, what they say, or Namibians. But where do they get their information? From the same guys. Because I don't think the Zimbabweans have people on the territory in Ukraine. Okay, hey, by the way, they get information from the same guys, which are the ones supposedly, they should be present to whatever happens. And they give you, they're building Kinzhals. But it's okay, they're not good enough because we blow them all up. Is it possible that the Russians are building, Kinzhals now as a mass production? Yeah, it's very possible. It's very possible. Why? I think they have the resources, and I think they have the capabilities. I don't see why not. What do they miss? Do they miss the American intelligence? Or the American chips? They don't have the chips? Is that what it is? Like, these guys are idiots. Do you think that the Russians and anybody else on this planet, when they have such an important weapon. They let themselves open to, I don't know, being blocked by the Chinese, by the French, by whomever. They bring foreign components for this strategic thing. So if they get in a little scuffle with those guys, they don't have it. Buy Kinzhal, no more Kinzhals, because we have the chips from the United States of America. Come on. I mean, and we're going to design something that we cannot produce. That's another stupidity. Yeah, we design something that we cannot produce unless the Americans are giving us the chips. All right. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.